Hi, how are you? How are you liking our short conversations? We're coming to a subject which we would call surrender. Now, that word makes me frightened sometimes. Surrender, what does that mean? Am I lying flat on the ground and somebody's just stomping all over me, taking away anything I want to deal with? But surrender in a spiritual sense could mean something completely different. If you, in my dream mind, Richard, I think that surrender could be something like when I surrender of what I think I need to do, and when the I kind of lets go a little bit about how things need to be, and the divine can move in, then things will be a bit easier. But maybe that is just also not a true surrender, because who knows whether it's going to be easy or not.
Yeah, sometimes it could also be like this that the life in general gets more real. I don't know if it's necessarily getting easier if we surrender to divine intention. And you can also go into this by asking the divine, what do you want me to do in this life, not what I want to do in this life. And this changes a lot of things. So ultimately, the I has to go that real surrender can happen.
I remember from working together with you in groups where we kind of talk to people about these subjects at times, that the biggest question that comes out of that surrender and, the divine is moving us or moving through us, that some people don't know whether it's the divine making the decision, or whether their subconsciousness is making their decision. Do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, there are many concepts around this, and also a concept about is there free will or not. And to me, it's not so important if there is free will or not. To me, it's important, we are coming back to this, to deal with what is. And if you think that you're the doer of everything in your life, of course, take full responsibility and yeah, do your best. And if you think the divine is doing everything, yeah, then the divine is doing everything. It's just like this, and I saw this sometimes in Neo Advaita, that people just say, yeah, there's nothing that can be done. I can be lazy. I cannot do anything. Yeah, I don't care. Compassion. What is compassion? Yeah, that's a very tricky one because I see that as just going into denial and avoiding life. And this to me does not have much to do with living in truth and compassion and fully also coming into life and being here as a human in a human form.
Yeah, that is, you talk about divine intention. And when you say intention, that means to me there is something not as directed to a goal. Intention is something different to me than, let's say, I have the intention to lose weight, because we keep talking about that as a simple way. I have the intention to lose weight. So if the divine has the intention to lose weight, it doesn't mean I lose weight. It doesn't mean I'm gonna um, reach for a certain weight in itself. Maybe it's just a journey I need to go on. Or why is it divine intention? I know I'm making this very difficult.
Maybe divine intention is not that you lose weight. The question is, well, let's look at it from this perspective. You have certain circumstances, you starting your life with a certain family, a certain area of where you're born in a country, And why I say divine intention, in the bigger picture, I see it like intention. The divine is intending or intending to give you a certain life experience. Yeah. That's why you have the certain circumstances that you live in, and everything plays itself out, your karma and for example your relationships, and then are you money wise poor or rich, and all of these things. Are you healthy, are you sick, are you there's this whole spectrum of human experiences that the divine uses to also teach you and bring you more into basically unity with the divine. But in the end, surrender means to let go into divine will. So we are coming back to this. Be fully with what is and see what can be. If you're in a really shitty situation, also see what can be improved. But first, fully be with what is, and then see what can be improved.
And just as a remark to those who are listening, and usually you in conversations like that, you will hear people, why do children get cancer, and all the horrible stories that exist in this world. Being with what is as a divine intention doesn't mean not to have compassion for somebody who is in that situation, and not being unhelpful to these people. And for the person itself, it's not a way, as you said, of falling into inaction. It just means like, what is that stickiness that I've been born with, and how can I remove myself from that?
Yeah, and it's also moment by moment a certain kind of practice that you can ask yourself or reconnect yourself with the divine to guide you. And in this relationship, you will get more and more guidance. Of course, you can ask the divine questions too, yeah? And align yourself with it and see where this takes you. And also then you see more and more that divine intention is playing out with all the love and all the compassion possible.
Yeah, it reminds me of that story. I want to add that in here, even though I don't have the best outline of it, but it's a long story about somebody who was tailoring clothes, and he kind of got involved with, like, he was he believed in God. And so he was a tailor, and he didn't have a lot of jobs, a good reputation, until somebody came and ruined it for him. And whatever happened to him on this path, where his whole shop was taken apart, where he ended up in prison, where he ended up in front of the court, every time he got asked about how he feels about that, he says, if the divine wants that, then it shall be. And even when he was in prison, and the prison guard was saying to him, yeah, but don't you, like, you seem to be very upbeat. And he says, well, if the divine wants me to be in here, I'm going to be in here. And at the end of the story, as it goes out with these beautiful stories, is that he gets out of prison and everything is being revealed, that it wasn't his fault. But even then, at that moment, there was not that happiness of success in him. He says, like, if the divine wants it to be resolved, then it's going to be resolved. And I didn't understand that story. I mean, I thought, like, oh yeah, I want to have that kind of surrenderedness. I feel like I want to be that person, and I know I can't be that person because it's just too much. If I end up in prison, I might not be able to say that. If the divine wants me here, I'm gonna be here. It seems absurd to me, but in some ways, I feel that is what you said earlier. If I think I'm living my life and I'm doing all the actions, then I have to live with that. And if I let the divine intention become more clear and clearer through me in each and every move I do and what happens to me, then I would be like this Tailor.
So hopefully we get a little bit of an input to this topic and or shed a little light on this. And yeah, thanks for listening and viewing.
Yeah. Any comments and notes are always welcome. Thanks for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you around again. Bye.